Hey guys, so bought this magazine which I've shown a little bit on like social media, just like the cover of it and stuff. And I found an image in here that I really like, and it really spoke to me. And that is this one here of the hand, the botanical kind of print. Really liked it. Really spoke to me. And I thought that I might have a little go at trying to recreate it, or at least something like it, in my journal. And I thought, as I was doing it, I thought I'd put the camera on because I thought you might like to see too. So time to get creating. Okie dokie, so I thought I'd talk you a bit through the page. So firstly, the journal that I'm using is actually an altered book. It was an old children's book. For you book lovers, please don't gasp. I bought it from an antiques seller, a rare and antiquity bookseller. I bought a bundle of books. I bought 25 books for £5. So yeah, it's not worth anything. It was one of those mass-produced prints. So anyway, the page on the left-hand side has got a very thin coat of gesso on it. The page on the right-hand side has practically nothing on it, just a little wipe. So you'll see the difference because I'm using the Dilutions paint, which incidentally are beautifully vivid. I absolutely love them. And I use a little bit of water just to kind of dilute it and spread it around. And obviously the page that has more gesso on, you can move paint around a lot easier because it's got that coat on the page, whereas the non-gessoed page, the paint just like literally soaks straight in. So what I do quite a lot, one of the techniques I really like to do is when paint's quite watery, or if it's not, I sort of splash some water over the top of it, leave it to sit for a little bit, and then I'll take a kitchen towel and just blot and remove some of the paint. I love doing this technique, and I love the kind of like the effect that you can get. But I also wanted to do it because this is the first time that I'd used these paints, and they are actually really vivid and really intense. So that kind of sort of shocked me a bit. So I was just having a play, really, to be honest, and the page turns out to be very different in the end from what you're seeing here. I wanted to kind of use the brown as kind of to make it more of a vintagey kind of look, and I ended up kind of ditching that. But if you see what I'm doing right now with the paper towel, I love the effect that you get when you remove some of the paint. Absolutely beautiful. And you don't have to throw the towel away. Once the paper towel's dry, you can use that as a collage element in your page as well. So it's not wasteful. You end up with a really nice detail. So just bear that in mind when you're doing stuff like that. So yeah, here's just again, the paint was quite dry, so I'm just flicking some water on top of the teal paint, leaving it a little bit, and then just kind of absorbing some of it with the towel just to remove some of it. As I say, I do that quite a lot. I do like a kind of add and remove quite a lot in my artwork until I get it how I like it. But actually, I was kind of in the zone with this painting. I don't know why. It ends up being very different, as I said, and you don't end up seeing any of the teal or the brown in the final result. But it was kind of like a cathartic experience of just kind of getting paint down and moving it around, and it very much evolved as I went on, which is a good thing to do, and many journal artists, do that. It's kind of like a fun place just to play around with paint, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, it ends up being very different, and I like that. And so I think it's good sometimes to work out what you want to do and just kind of go with it. If you feel yourself being taken in a different direction to the one that you originally thought that you were going to go in, then just go for it. It's your journal, and you can just do what the hell you like in it. And if you've got something in mind and then you end up thinking, I actually really want to go with this, then just go with it, because just have fun with it, really. And that's kind of like the point of the whole journal thing. So nice big black inky hand. I did a few smears like around with some paint just to kind of give it a bit of a kind of distressed look, and I made sure that my handprint was really, really dry before I did anything else. And I just kind of filled in some of the gaps, because although I pressed my hand down, I obviously didn't do it well enough, and I wasn't really concerned that I didn't have like majorly accurate prints. I just kind of wanted I wanted it to be my hand, but I wasn't really concerned that it wasn't like 100% printed. So this basically was the turning point for the whole page. After the black hand was down, I suddenly decided that I really hated everything else around it. Until that point, I was liking it, but from here on, no. So down goes the gesso, mute everything in the background. I used a dirty paintbrush, which is why I got some of the black in there as well, which is fine. I really liked that purpley grey. Reminded me kind of like thunderstorms and a dark night, but I just decided that I hated the teal and I hated the brown once the black hand was down. Before that, I was really liking it, so I took the page in a whole another direction, as you can see here. So totally going over it, yet more purple paint. So loving the colour of the purple paint. It's absolutely amazing. Once the page is 100% finished, I actually really like the page. There's just like, and I think a lot of people when they're arting, journaling, they go through the stage where they're liking it, then they're hating it, and then they're liking it again, and then hating it again. And I think that's kind of a natural process. I think a lot of people go through that. So if it happens to you, don't worry, just keep going. It's only paint. You can paint over it. And you can see I'm a testament to that, because I've done it myself. I'm just adding a bit of detail to the hand, kind of like the image that I showed you originally. Again, you'll see that I did a couple of things I didn't like. I don't know. I was using paint and a paintbrush, and I should have used a paint pen, and so I didn't like it. So when I then I put it down, and then because the paint was wet, and the black was dry, I literally just wiped it off again and started again. It did leave a little bit of a white smudge, but I actually really liked that and that effect, which is why I didn't paint over it again, because it kind of ended up giving the hand like a little bit of extra texture and an extra kind of detail element. So I ended up really, really liking that. I actually really liked the way the hand turned out, actually, because it's kind of like, I mean, I have dry hands. I'm an artist. My hands, I'm always painting with my hands and putting them in water, and so I'm quite harsh on my hands. And I like the fact that it kind of, the whole image of my hand looks kind of a bit gnarly in some ways, or imperfect. So I really like kind of what it represents. So again, here's another place where the page takes a totally different shape. I just used I wanted to then put like the elements on, like the botanical elements. I wasn't sure how to do that, and then I remembered that I had this Tim Holtz tissue paper, so I used some liquid matte medium to glue the tissue paper down over the entire thing. Totally changed the look of the page. You can do this as a base layer and then paint over it, or you can do it like I'm doing. I really like how it turned out. You can see some of the paint underneath it as well, because it does go semi-transparent, but I just really like the overall look that I get from the page. And at the end I have done some photos for you so you can see a little bit clearer. At the time of posting this video, I do have some of the tissue paper available in the shop. So if you were interested in that, in fact, I have all of these suppliers in the shop because they were just calling out to me to use them. But yeah, so you can have a look at the stills at the end and you can see how it looks overall. Really happy with the page and the way it looked. And I'm quite glad that it kind of got to where it did. So there we go, that's what it all looks like with all the tissue paper down. Absolutely love it, and you can see some of the paint peeking through, but it's muted it all down, and I love the effect. So next up I'm using some of the oil pastels, which is one of my favourite art supplies in the world to use, and just giving my hand just kind of a bit of shading, just to darken it around and kind of try and bring it a little bit more to life. This page actually ended up being quite personal to me, and to personalise it, I always have some photos that are hanging around that are left over from like Project Life that don't quite fit any pages, so I decided to glue them into my page. And then I used a white Posca paint pen, the white Dilutions pen, the black Dilutions pen to do some doodling over the page, and also add some journaling. And I also added more journaling afterwards as well, which is a bit private, but there we go. I hope you enjoyed having a look at another one of my process videos.